Hi, you are listening to the Father Support Network podcast. This podcast is for single fathers and fathers in general. On this podcast, we educate, inform, guide, encourage, and help fathers navigate the complex challenges of maintaining contact and healthy relationships with their children after separation or divorce. Your host is Dr. Michael Uwangba. Michael Uwangba is a father of three who successfully fought for the right of his children to have their father in their lives.
Hello. Man, I just want to make a very quick reaction to the sentencing of the killers of Daejaun Campbell, a 15-year-old boy that was killed last year, September, in Woolwich, southeast London. Killed by, I think, an 18-year-old Imri, who was sentenced to 21 years, and the co-accuser, which is a Mako, 19-year-old, sentenced to 11 years old. Something profound. The mother of Daejaun Campbell said in the court that justice hasn't been served and never will. That is true. That's very profound. No amount of sentencing. I've seen comments where people find the sentencing to be lenient, but even if it's 100 years, 200 years, it doesn't bring back Daejaun. So I feel the pain of Daejaun's mom. But then again, it speaks to the broader wider issue in the society, the knife crime epidemic, and we've not been able to sort this out. And sometimes you see the political parties use it as a political talk point. You see, I was listening to the Conservative Party after the conference talking about stop and search, increasing stop and search and all that. But I always wonder why we don't talk about the root cause. Because sometimes you see that the data, the victims and the targets of this are like skewed towards black young boys. It's just what it is. And then again, we need to look into that, look at that demographic, and look at what is the attraction into the gang culture. Why will a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old ever want to join the gang? For a father of young ones that are preteen getting into teenagers, I think we don't appreciate the importance of the family. The family is key. I grew up in a far more dangerous society than what these kids are growing up in. I mean, like where we grew up, far dangerous society, believe me. And my mom raised a whole lot of us. Mama had plenty kids. He raised us in that environment and raised us well. And we were nurtured in a certain way. We were given values, but we were also disciplined. I could say maybe it was overt. It was sometimes a bit. I wouldn't discipline my kids with those kind of measure that we were, but we didn't. We turned out good. So this day and age you call that abuse or whatever. We turned out good. The family is very important, and again, some of these families are families where single household families where most likely the father is absent. The father is important as a source of discipline, source of protection. Because I cannot imagine my son. I'll be honest, I can't imagine my son being out there groomed by all the kids, being out there, you see how these people. I've seen someone that I know as a single mom that has a son that is 12 that was being groomed and being forced, compared into a gang and tried to be initiated into it. And you can't blame this single mom. You can't handle it. And then again, you see how they try to lure these young people with gifts, with material things. But then again, they become the street dad. That's the key thing. When the dad is not there, they become the street dad. But we need to look into why our dad's absent in these homes. If I look at my experience, if I wasn't brought up who I was brought up in my own situation as a single dad, if I'd become like an average or typical black man, I wouldn't be in the life of my kids. And I promise you, the mom wouldn't be able to handle it. And perhaps the children would have gone into the care system, and that would have even been worse. So I think we need to find a way where we incentivize family. I've never heard the political parties talking about that. Why are fathers absent? Why are fathers economically marginalized, whereas they cannot fulfill their role? I'm not removing agency from these fathers. I'm not saying that is, typically that I'm not saying that these fathers don't have responsibility, that they can, I'm for one, it's conditions are not, it's not like conditions are very perfect, but again, it's also the upbringing I've had, and that's what we don't want to create a cycle, the same cycle over and over again, where children have. So we need to look at it. But I feel sympathy for Daejaun's mom. There's nothing I can say. Sometimes we hear these things, knife crime everywhere in America, in Europe, everywhere, and then you see gun crime, and then people say my prayers and thoughts won't bring nobody back. So, but let's look more into prevent. But I wish pray comfort to the family. If anything, and to the killers, they also have family. But again, they're also victims. So you look at these things: a victim of the system, victim of the cutthroat greed has eaten us up, and our society is so warped and depraved. So we need to start looking into that, and it starts from the family. So the family is the base of the society, so that family needs to be whole. So we should start looking into the family, how we can make the family whole and wholesome, and create a condition where kids are being raised with values, good values, to respect life. Because I can understand how kids 15, 16, 18 are taking lives without and then again the attraction or the allure of criminality, or the things you get from it, that attract us. I don't know, I didn't grow up with a lot. I didn't even grow up with a silver spoon, but we were made to be contented with what we have. So this also goes to values and all of that. But by and large, as it concerns us, we need to talk about the family, talk about the role of the father, and how we can incentivize the family to be one, for fathers to be, talk about the core system that sometimes might be discouraging to fathers. Talk about all of that. Those are the kind of approaches we need to be looking at, a whole society approach. Look at the root cause of this, and start looking at our curriculum, family curriculum, school curriculum. Also again, look at how exclusions in the schools can also push keys into all of that. I create also extracurricular activities, activities that can bring people together, that take them away from crime. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, and pray that those that are in charge of this can begin to attend to this, because it's becoming pervasive now. It's becoming every day. We hear this every day, and we got kids, and we look at, we can't live in a world that is so unsafe. But anyways, I wish you the best. Have a great weekend, and ciao.